Most of us were taught that telling the truth is the right thing to do until that truth starts to rattle the room. Then we're taught to quiet down, make it smoother, more palatable, more acceptable. We get really good at being agreeable. We become experts at swallowing our discomfort to keep the peace. But here's what no one tells you. The peace you keep on the outside is often paid for with chaos on the inside. For the next 7 days, tell the truth, especially the small ones you've convinced yourself don't matter. Tell the truth when you're tired instead of saying, I'm fine. Tell the truth when you feel unseen instead of pretending it doesn't bother you. Tell the truth when something hurts instead of brushing it off with a joke. Tell the truth when you want to say no instead of smiling through a yes that drains you. Telling the truth isn't just about being honest with others. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about noticing the moments you betray your needs to avoid discomfort. It's about catching yourself when you're performing a version of you that no longer fits. And most importantly, it's about having the courage to risk not being liked in order to be fully known. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Will it sometimes cause tension? Absolutely. But tension isn't always a bad thing. It's a sign that something real is happening. Growth lives in that space. So do healing, clarity, and freedom. For 7 days, stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, and over-accommodating. Practice truthful expression, even when your voice shakes or your hands tremble. Let your truth be raw. Let it be messy. Let it breathe. Because every time you tell the truth, even the hard kind, you reinforce something powerful inside you. I am worthy of being seen. Not the edited version of me, not the agreeable version of me, but the real one. And that truth, it doesn't just change your week, it changes your life. One honest moment at a time. We live in a world that tells us to move fast, bounce back, stay strong. The moment we feel anything heavy, grief, disappointment, jealousy, anger, we're taught to numb it, scroll past it, bury it beneath fake positivity or pretend productivity. But emotions are not mistakes. They are messengers. And if you silence them long enough, they stop knocking and start screaming. For these next 7 days, make a radical choice. Don't escape what you feel. Sit with it. When sadness rises in your throat, don't distract yourself. Listen. When resentment creeps into your chest, don't shame yourself. Get curious. When anxiety grips your stomach, don't fight it, breathe into it. Sitting with your emotions doesn't mean drowning in them. It means holding space without judgment. It's saying, I don't have to like this feeling, but I respect it enough to let it teach me. Because buried emotions don't die, they resurface. In how you speak, how you love, how you trust. They leak out in sarcasm, in defensiveness, in emotional withdrawal, in overreactions that leave you wondering, why did I explode over something so small? Every emotion you feel is rooted in something deeper, an unmet need, a tender memory, a part of you asking to be seen. But if you keep abandoning yourself every time things get hard, you'll never feel safe enough inside your own skin to fully heal. So this week, when the hard feelings come, and they will, don't run. Journal, cry, scream into a pillow, go for a walk and ask yourself, what am I really feeling beneath all this noise? Feelings aren't weakness. They're proof you're awake. They're the road back to your wholeness. This week, give yourself the grace to feel deeply without trying to fix it instantly. Because when you stop outrunning your emotions, you start coming home to yourself. And that kind of presence, it doesn't just heal what's hurting, it transforms who you become. Courage isn't always a grand gesture. Sometimes it's answering a text you've avoided for days. Sometimes it's going to sleep when your anxiety begs you to stay awake. Sometimes it's walking away from a conversation that's going nowhere without needing the last word. Bravery is less about leaping off cliffs and more about standing your ground in the small moments where fear whispers, "Don't rock the boat." For these next 7 days, I want you to stop waiting to feel ready. You probably never will. Instead, I want you to feel your fear and do one brave thing anyway. One brave thing might be finally telling someone how they made you feel. It might be showing up to the gym when your mind screams, "Why bother?" It might be speaking your truth in a room full of silence. It might be forgiving yourself for the things you're still punishing yourself for. Bravery looks different for everyone, but the common thread, it's uncomfortable, it stretches you, and it always demands vulnerability. Most people think bravery is about being fearless. That's not true. Bravery is feeling the fear, the self-doubt, the trembling knees, and walking forward with them. It's saying, this might not go perfectly, I might mess up, but I'm showing up anyway. Because showing up is the only way anything changes. You don't need to rearrange your life in a week. You just need to do one small, bold thing every day for 7 days. That's it, one shift at a time, one decision that aligns with your integrity instead of your insecurity. So many times you do something brave, even if no one sees it, you rewrite your story. You send a message to your nervous system, to your self-worth, to your inner child that says, we're safe, we've got this, we can do hard things. And over time, those tiny acts of courage, they become the architecture of a life rooted in authenticity, not avoidance. And that changes everything. Let's tell the truth. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every conversation is worth your peace. Not every invitation deserves a yes. And not every relationship should still be standing. Your energy is your life force. It fuels how you think, how you feel, how you love, how you show up in the world. And yet so many of us give it away like spare change, leaking it into spaces that drain us, conversations that exhaust us, and people who take without ever pouring back. For the next 7 days, protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Start paying attention to how you feel after you leave certain people or places. Do you feel heavier, anxious, small? Or do you feel inspired, seen, calm? That's your body talking. That's your spirit sending signals. Honor them. You are allowed to say no without explaining yourself. Take breaks from people who don't know how to pour into you. Cancel plans if your soul is tired. Not answer texts right away. Walk away from passive aggression disguised as conversation. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's spiritual. It's a deep act of self-respect. It's understanding that being available to everyone at all times is a recipe for resentment and emotional burnout. Sometimes we get stuck in the role of caretaker, fixer, peacemaker, believing we're being kind. But when your kindness becomes self-abandonment, that's no longer compassion, that's self-neglect. This week, create emotional boundaries where you've only had open doors. Mute the noise. Say no with your whole chest. Unplug when the world demands too much. Create sacred space around your peace, like a fence. not to push people out, but to protect what's been entrusted to you, your well-being. Because when your energy is respected by you first and then by others, you start to feel the difference. You have more clarity, more alignment, more calm. And from that place, you can give with joy instead of obligation. So for 7 days, treat your energy like gold. Not everyone gets to spend it. And you don't have to feel guilty about that. You're not here to be everything to everyone. You're here to be whole. For yourself, we miss so much of our lives because we're not actually in them. We're replaying yesterday's arguments. We're rehearsing tomorrow's worries. We're scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, comparing it to the behind-the-scenes chaos of our own. We are here, but we are not here. Presence is one of the most radical things you can offer yourself, not just being physically somewhere, but emotionally available to the moment you're in. And yet, it's also one of the hardest things to do because being fully present means feeling everything, the discomfort, the stillness, the silence, the vulnerability of truly seeing, hearing, and being with what is without trying to fix, flee, or numb it. For these next 7 days, I want you to return to the present moment over and over and over again. When you eat, eat. Don't rush, don't multitask. Taste your food. Breathe between bites. When you talk to someone, listen. Put the phone down. Make eye contact. Let them feel heard. When you walk, notice the way the sun hits the pavement, the shape of the clouds, the sound of your footsteps. When your mind races ahead to what's next, bring it back to now, gently, lovingly, without judgment. Presence is where peace lives. It's where healing happens. It's where joy is found, not in some distant milestone, but in the moment you're living right now. And here's the thing, life isn't asking you to be perfect in your presence. It's asking you to return when you drift, to keep noticing, to keep coming home again and again. Because the more you practice being fully here, the more you'll realize this moment is enough. You are enough, right here, right now. And when you start living from that space, not racing towards something else, not resenting what already happened, you'll find a version of yourself that's softer, more grounded, and more alive than you felt in a long time. For 7 days, give yourself the gift of presence, because your life isn't waiting for you out there. It's happening now, right under your feet. The most dangerous voice you'll ever hear is the one inside your own head. That quiet whisper that calls you lazy when you're exhausted. That internal critic that tells you you're falling behind when you're doing the best you can. That voice that scoffs at your dreams, mocks your body, minimizes your pain, and questions your worth over and over until you mistake it for truth. If someone spoke to your friend, your child, your loved one, the way you sometimes speak to yourself, you'd step in instantly. So why do we let that voice live inside us unchecked? For the next 7 days, I want you to do something revolutionary. I want you to speak to yourself with radical kindness. Not surface level positivity, not fake affirmations, but real compassionate language. Especially when you're struggling, especially when you feel like you don't deserve it. When you wake up feeling behind, remind yourself, I am allowed to move at my own pace. When you look in the mirror and start picking yourself apart, pause and say, this body carries me. I owe it tenderness, not criticism. When you make a mistake, tell yourself, I am human. I am learning. I will grow from this. When you're tempted to compare, remind yourself, their path is not my path, and my story is still sacred. This isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing a voice that heals, not harms. Because how you speak to yourself, especially in the quiet moments, shapes how you show up in the world. It determines whether you shrink or rise, whether you hide or shine. And here's the truth. Self-judgment doesn't build character, it builds walls. Self-kindness doesn't make you weak, it makes you safe. And when you feel safe within yourself, you stop looking for worth in all the wrong places. So for these 7 days, notice that inner voice. Catch the shame, interrupt the insults, replace harshness with gentleness. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love who is healing. Because you are healing. And when you start treating yourself with the compassion you've always deserved, something powerful shifts. You stop performing for acceptance. You stop chasing validation. You come home to yourself. And that voice, it becomes your strength, not your sabotage. Your sanctuary, not your battlefield. So for 1 week, speak kindly to yourself and watch what happens when your inner world finally starts rooting for you. Let's be real. Change doesn't happen because we snap our fingers and decide we're ready. It happens when we start showing up differently day after day, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. For the next 7 days, you're not being asked to become a new person. You're being invited to return to the version of you that's been buried beneath exhaustion, fear, self-doubt,